So thank you for joining us on the 8th episode of
Pharm Girls.
So you may have noticed that Marcia looks a little bit different or sounds a little bit different today.
I've just got a cold and I got some sun.
Marcia's been out of town, so we have our one and only fellow, who's a fella, Raj Salvaraj with us today. So he's going to fill in and be our farm girl for the day. And of course, today we're going to have some farm facts. We're going to tell you about some events coming up. And we've got a great VIP, Dr. Tess Lewis, who goes by Tess, who's currently a PGY1 resident of Nebraska medicine.
Yep. My classmate.
Yeah, nice. And a good friend of yours.
Very good friend of mine.
Yeah. So we're excited to hear her talk a little bit about being a resident. So we're going to talk first about what we've been up to. So we're still in a long process, I think longer than we realized, process of the 407 review for tech immunization. So
we're kind of towards the back end of it, though.
Right.
So at least it's rolling. It's starting to roll, though.
Now.
Yeah, we're on the downhill right now.
They had the public hearing in September, and so we'll keep you updated on the next steps with that. They're also going to have some technicians and other pharmacists come in and talk also at a different hearing.
And then hopefully after that, we can kind of get this squared away then.
Yeah, squared away, and then we can take it to the legislature next year then, hopefully. And so, Raj, tell us what you have been up to besides winning powerlifting competition.
Thank you.
He won the powerlifting competition, and he won a pickleball competition.
Yep. So last Saturday, powerlifting comp got that secured away. First place, barely won by a single point, but it was so good to be back in town in Kansas City and see all my friends again. Had a pickleball tournament, played men's doubles and mixed doubles. Mm-hmm. What would that have been? 2 days ago on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Successful. Got first in men's double and I got second in mixed. So it's been good so far. Work. Still got to catch up on some emails, so we're working our way there. But with work stuff, though, what's going on is we're working on this 1815 grant right now to where we have some funds through DHHS, and we're offering not necessarily continuing education, but education to help pharmacists, technicians, and interns kind of build their pharmacy background, whether that be in the diabetes space or in the cardiology space. That we just got a new program through ASHP. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us and we can give you more information.
Yeah, and keep watching our Facebook posts, or if you're a member, the Daily Dose emails, because we'll have information on it in the future too. So.
Speaking of the daily news dose, hopefully everybody's been enjoying our Trivia Tuesday. I'm kind of heading that right now. We're on our back end of questions, but I'm sure I can make some more up. But if you guys do have any suggestions, please reach out to us and send us your favorite trivia question. It can be law related, pharmacotherapy related, or even just for fun, like the which of these drinks did the pharmacist not invent, which was 7-Up answer. Right. So yes, please reach out to us that way as well. We have our big conference coming up on October 7th. It's called HSync, the Health System and Industry Network Conference. That is open to technicians, students, pharmacists, interns, health system leaders, and pharmaceutical industry representative. It's to basically facilitate a high level networking and idea sharing conference to basically bring in new and robust ideas into the Nebraska healthcare system while fostering, really valuable connections for our pharmacists.
Right. Yeah, that'll be fun. And Raj has been leading the charge on that also.
So our final update from me is we will be having a Malaysian pharmacist. If you guys didn't know, I am originally from Malaysia. Mm-hmm. His name is Fan Jie, same age as me, at a ripe age of 27. Right. So he is part of this program called Waisili, and we're having him with us starting on Monday, September 19th, all the way up until October 14th.
Cool. And so what is some of the stuff that we're going to be doing with him? Give us a little more info on and why he's coming to us, why he's coming to the NPA in Nebraska of all places.
Absolutely. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here and look at the notes because he is a very, very robust candidate. He's a very interesting guy. I got a chance to talk with him. Amy got a chance to meet with him. Really cool guy. I'm really looking forward to it.
And he's about your age too, right?
Yeah. Exact same age.
20s or mid-20s.
So his name is Fan Jie. He is a Waisili, that is a Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative Fellow, interested in policy and advocacy regarding community health. He is currently a hospital pharmacist in the Ministry of Health Malaysia. He also works on public policy advocacy in nonprofit organizations such as Higher Education Malaysian Association and the Malaysian Health Coalition. focusing on education, healthcare, and public governance. In addition, he is also a product lead at a Malaysian digital health startup where he works on building a virtual medication counseling platform.
So he has a lot of free time, it sounds like.
I mean, just as much free time as you and I, right?
Right,
So,
yeah. It sounds like he doesn't have much to do at all.
yeah, so we're trying to show him how pharmacy policy changes in different practice sites around the state. Specifically in Lincoln, he is travel limited right now. So really Lincoln and Omaha and maybe surrounding areas are going to be our limitations to what to show him. But, you know, another shout out here, if you guys would like to maybe host him for like an hour or two, show him how policy implements at your practice and how it changes from maybe another location, you know, reach out to us. I'm sure he would love to meet with you and then see how policy changes at different pharmacy practices.
Right. Well, and I think too, we'll record our next podcast at the beginning of October. So I'm hoping we'll have him on with us also.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And by then he'll have been here for a few weeks. So we'll be able to kind of have his input on Nebraska and what the differences are between here and Malaysia and the healthcare system.
It's probably about the same. Lincoln, Nebraska, and Malaysia, it's about the same.
Yeah,
I think
probably not much difference. Yeah. It'll be like no big D for him here. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned for that because we're super excited to have him here and show him what a great place Nebraska is.
We're taking him to a Husker game. October 1st, I think we're going to the Indiana game. Yeah, we're taking him to the zoo. Yeah. Valas, hopefully.
Yeah, we're going to kind of do a bunch of things with him. So, okay, so we have a great VIP with us today, Dr. Tess Lewis, who, as we said, is a PGY1 resident at Nebraska Medicine. She's from Omaha originally, and in her spare time, which she doesn't have much of currently, she likes to work out with a combination of power life classes and weightlifting, which
it's another one now.
You were the only one.
I thought I was the only one. Yeah. I have a twin now.
A twin, yeah. Yeah, very much so.
Very much so. If you squint, it's hard to tell us apart, I'm telling
you. She also enjoys spending time with her two cats, Maverick and Wasabi.
I wish we could screen share that. Maybe instead of Tess on our main page, it's actually just the cats because they are too cute to function. I'm telling you. And
Raj and I are huge cat people. So we both
brand new cat dad. I didn't really like him before we got my new daughter Jinxie, but now I'm a dad.
Now he's one of those people who says he's the cat dad.
Yeah, I don't have a cat. I have a child.
A child. Yeah, yeah. I actually made Matt a blanket that says "Best Fake Cat Dad."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he is. Yeah. Okay, so what made you want to be a pharmacist, Tess?
So me getting into pharmacy is kind of a long story. It started when I was 16. My grandma had told me, hey, you should be a pharmacist because they get paid really well just to count pills. And I was like, oh, that sounds lovely.
Sounds about right.
That's exactly what pharmacy is. And then I made it to college. I ended up going in starting with a business degree because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Pharmacy had kind of left my brain. And I made it 2 days into Business 101 before realizing business is not the track.
That wasn't what you wanted to do.
I decided to take a chemistry class, just a bunch of 101, algebra, chemistry, just to see what I was good at. And I got 100% chemistry. So I was like, what can I do with chemistry?
Check her out.
So then I started on the pre-pharmacy track. I started working in retail pharmacy at Walgreens, throwback to my retail time. And then applied at UNMC. It was actually the only place I applied and interviewed. I thought that if I didn't get in, I would finish out my chemistry degree at UNO and then try again the next year. But luckily, I made it into UNMC so that I could be friends with Raj here.
Ugh, look at that.
And
that's perfect.
And it all worked out really well.
Perfect. And so we know you went to UNMC. So is algebra, chemistry, those kind of things what you love? Because I hate that.
Oh, really? That's my wheelhouse. You put me, I remember taking
on the other side of the
AP
brain.
English, and I got a 2 on those. I got demolished on those exams.
Oh, see, AP English was my thing.
Yeah, download Grammarly. Yeah. Quick shout out.
Actually, just to show you how much I hated algebra in high school. So then when I went to college, my major, which was textile design at the time, you had to take algebra. And I was like, are you kidding me?
For textile design?
Yeah. And so I changed my major.
You got to know how to mess with the corners.
I was like, nope. And so I changed to broadcasting.
Oh, here we are, right?
Here we are.
Here we are, right? It all worked out, right?
Yeah,
it all worked out
in the end. But yeah, I was like, no, I'm not doing algebra. That's the wrong side of the brain for me. Yeah.
Oh, you made it. Well, Tess, always good to see you. One of my dearest and closest friends. Why should a student pursue residency? What are some, I guess, huge topics that you kind of got started into of why you should do residency, and what advice would you offer to students looking into kind of pursuing that career path?
Of course. So I think the biggest thing to kind of start with is the reasons why a student shouldn't pursue a residency. They shouldn't pursue it if they're just trying to get out of retail. If they think that retail is not the environment for them, it was kind of when we started pharmacy school, I think it was kind of presented to us there's retail and there's residency. So people kind of had it in their mind, oh, I don't want to be a retail pharmacist. I'm going to aim for a residency, but there's so many different avenues that you can go into as a
Right.
pharmacist.
Absolutely.
So I don't think students should just like head on go into residency, because it's very, very challenging if they just haven't found their place
Right.
yet. The people that should pursue residency, so if you're looking to get into clinical pharmacy, so anything from, we have people in my class that want to specialize in oncology. So if you're wanting to work with chemo drugs, chemo patients, that's something that most of the time you do need to specialize with a residency to pursue in the clinical aspect. Personally, I'm interested in emergency medicine pharmacy. It's not something you can unfortunately just walk off the street and start doing. You kind of got to go down the avenue of residency, which is a PGY1 followed by a PGY2 to specialize in that area. So I definitely think students that are looking into residency need to think about it quite a bit. It's not an easy year or two, whichever you're going to go into. So getting a mentor, we had Dr. Cochran, Gary, who introduced me and Raj kind of, that I talked to quite a bit about it because he did his residency here at Nebraska Medicine as well. So getting a mentor, talking to people, making sure you're reaching out to the programs, to the residents that are there, to kind of see what it really is like as a resident, because I think it kind of gets blown up into this kind of like golden year where, oh, they're a resident, they're going to learn so much, but it's very challenging. So I think you need to kind of see the real story. And then for students that are full on like ready to pursue residency, I always let them know, like, build your CV up as early as you can. Get leadership, get research experience, volunteer looks really good, and then employment. A lot of programs very much want you to be employed while you're in pharmacy school, whether that's retail or inpatient or specialty, whatever you end up going into. They just like to see that you're passionate and motivated about pharmacy and that you can handle working and school kind of at the same time.
Right. And so how far do you think in advance you prepared yourself for a residency?
So I personally knew I wanted to do a residency my P1 year. So
Oh, wow,
I
okay.
started
Overachiever. Okay.
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very fresh out of the gate, but that's because I, at the time, was pursuing oncology. So I knew
Okay.
to get into oncology, residency was what I needed to do. That obviously did not last and kind of went a different pathway, which I think is perfectly fine for students to do. But I don't think that you're doing yourself a disadvantage by building your CV. It's always going to help for any type of job that you're
Right.
going to go into. But I have had friends that have started being interested in residency their P3 or P4 year and still be very competitive applicants and still manage to get residencies.
Okay.
So something about residency, I'm gonna have to
Okay.
poke a little fun at Tess. I was talking to her last week, and she sent me a snap, and to say that a PGY1 residency, especially at a big institution like Nebraska Medicine, is a very, very challenging program.
Mhm.
But it's also a very prestigious program, and the residents come out very prepared. But I
Right.
remember this Snapchat Tess sent me, and it said, 33 hours awake, let's go. I said, I remember trying to stay up for 24 hours at senior year prom, and it hit like hour 23, and I was like, I'm about to throw up if I don't go to sleep right now.
Right.
So kudos to you for working those overnights and really kind of grinding through residency. It is not an easy program at any institution, so kudos to you for that.
Now with the residency too, so you're working for them. Is a residency paid?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
okay.
unlike rotations, you do get a salary. So it's a full-time job with similar kind of what I'm doing with
Mhm.
fellowship. But Tess is doing same thing
Okay.
inpatient wise. So
Okay, nice. Okay, let's see. We kind of skipped around here. So, what's your dream pharmacy job? I know you just said emergency medicine. So, is that kind of where you see yourself, or is there something beyond that that you see yourself doing?
So I think dream residency job, I see myself working at an academic medical center because teaching in academia is a very large part of what I want to do. So I would want to be an emergency medicine pharmacist that can act as a preceptor for both pharmacy students and pharmacy residents. But I also want the opportunity to either assist at at a college of pharmacy, preferably UNMC in the future, be able to either teach lectures or help with labs just to kind of continue to build that academia experience.
Nice.
I feel like she has our list of questions because she like answers them
So
before we
so
even
well,
before we
yeah.
even before we even
Yeah,
ask him,
before we
right?
even ask him. Yeah.
All right.
I did
So
a lot of interviews, so I've been asked this question many times.
okay. Well,
This is an
after how
old
about
hat.
after like these easy ones, we'll toss her
Something real
a
hard.
wrench, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. So Tess, what do you hope to see for the future of pharmacy in an inpatient critical medicine setting that you're passionate about, and then in the profession as a whole?
So I think the great thing specifically about the Midwest, but also inpatient emergency medicine at Nebraska, our scope is very large compared to a lot of programs. There's a lot of trust built in. There's a lot of collaborative practices that are built in to emergency medicine. So the pharmacists are able to prescribe when cultures return. They're able to dose a lot of things that at other academic medical centers in other areas of the country they wouldn't be able to do. So I think for the future of pharmacy, just continuing to expand kind of our scope. And a big thing for me is educating the public on what like a pharmacist does, because when I tell people, "Oh, I'm doing a pharmacy residency," they kind of just blow it off. They're like, "Why would you need a residency? What are you going to do with a residency?"
Right.
So it's one of those things that I think educating the public on what a pharmacist does and what we can bring to them as a
Right.
population is really important for us as healthcare professionals.
Yeah. It's kind of like what you said earlier. People think like, oh, they count pills.
You just count pills a little
Yep,
They
faster and a
count
little
pills.
better, and
Yeah,
count
than
through
the other
residency,
people.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. And just make sure people don't die from taking the wrong prescriptions.
yeah. Aside from that,
I mean,
right? Yeah.
besides from
Other than
that,
that,
yeah.
other than that, yeah.
Yeah. What else do we want to ask Tess? Before we're going to play a game. We are going to play a game.
What else do we want to
Yeah.
ask Tess related to her profession? So let's say you are talking to a high school student. They don't know what they want to do. They're pretty good at science and math. Why do you think they should become a pharmacist? What are maybe like 2 or 3 big points you could, maybe say to someone that is interested in the profession, but they don't really know too much about it?
So I think the big thing that I would tell them is the nice thing about pharmacy is it's very flexible. There are so many different things you can do. If you want to go into retail, that is an aspect of pharmacy, but it's not the only thing. And I think when people think pharmacy, they think retail pharmacy. So I would kind of tell them, like, this is what I do as an inpatient pharmacist. These are the things that I get to see in the emergency department, on the floors, in the ICU, which I think is very cool to people because it's one of those healthcare fields I think that isn't appreciated as much as some of the other fields. We still get to have our hands in patient care. We just don't necessarily have to directly be like touching the patient. If you don't want to, you don't have to be dealing with the
Right.
gross stuff, which for some people is a big thing of not going into healthcare. I'm terrified of blood and I love the emergency department, so it kind of
Weird
worked out
combination,
that
right?
way.
That's a
Weird
weird-
combination.
It is a weird combination. But then I would also let them know, like, pharmacy, as any other profession, does have challenges. Like, we are pretty oversaturated as it is right now. Getting a fellowship, getting a residency are very challenging. You have to be willing to work for it. And even if you do, sometimes it doesn't work out. I think this year there was 1,000 pharmacy residency applicants that didn't match. So
It's a lot.
just kind of making sure you've got kind of a backup plan. And also pharmacy is one of those, like, at this moment, very saturated, but I think that is coming on a downtrend because the pharmacy schools have much smaller classes now.
I feel
sure.
like we got a little bit of insider info on that, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, great Great words of wisdom, Tess. Thank you so much. Do you want to transition to a game?
Yeah, so we're going to do a quick would you rather. So that's going to be, and I'm going to ask you, well, we can all answer it if you want.
That's
Yeah, okay.
doesn't matter to me.
So Tess will go first, and then Raj, you'll say yours, and then I'll say mine.
Okay, sounds good.
So, Tess, would you rather sing karaoke or lead a choreographed dance on TikTok?
Oh,
No alcohol
probably sing
involved.
karaoke. Oh, no alcohol?
No alcohol involved.
What?
We are in a sober institution here.
Sober institution.
So you got to sing karaoke
Who
or
sings
lead a
karaoke sober?
Not me, I'll tell you that. But this is the
Okay.
game though.
Well, we have in Omaha the bar Full House. It's a karaoke bar. It's like a dive bar. Me and my friends go pretty frequently, I would say, maybe like 2 or 3 times a year. Most of the time there's drinking involved. But I think karaoke is a little bit more fun. I'm not a dancer. You're not going to catch me dancing.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I would probably lead a choreographed dance on TikTok. I feel like they're so easy these days.
Okay.
You know?
Are you going to make your own up?
Probably. I have a friend who's pretty active in the dancing on the TikTok scene, so maybe I'll get him on board.
Oh,
and
really?
then
Okay.
yeah. So maybe I'll get him on board and he can like shout me out, and maybe I'll just drop out of pharmacy and I'll just be a next like TikTok influencer and I'll be dancing.
For sure.
Yeah, pickleball, powerlifting, dancing.
And TikToking.
Oh yeah, do it all.
Definitely. I would definitely lead a choreographed dance on TikTok. I'm much more of a dance person than a
We can dance as Tess is singing.
Yeah, you can sing, we'll dance.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
It'll be like a whole show on TikTok. Yeah. Okay, so would you rather go 5 years back to talk to yourself or go 5 years forward and talk to your future self?
5 years forward.
What would you ask yourself? Well, you go into right now, you see future Tess, 5 years older. What would you ask her?
I think I would probably just want to know, like, how did we get where we are now? Do you have any regrets about it? Do you enjoy it? I feel like if I went to past Tess, I wouldn't have much to tell them because I wouldn't change anything that's happened in the last 5 years because it's taken me exactly where I need to be. So I think that was very deep.
Yes, we're profound here.
Yeah, we are very
The NPA is very profound.
People tell us that all the time.
The first, just kidding, she's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think 5 years forward.
Okay, nice. How about you, Raj?
Yeah, I'm going to have to mirror exactly what Tess said. I feel like if I were to go back in time and talk to myself, I wouldn't be sitting here today. You know, I don't really have any regrets looking back. So I think 5 years forward of seeing, am I doing what I need to right now to get where I need to be?
Okay. Well, which I know this is super hard to believe, but since I'm about 20 years older than both of you, I would probably go 5 years back, probably. Actually, maybe even a little more, more. Be like, okay,
10.
What are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's maybe rethink.
What would you tell younger Amy?
Oh gosh. I would definitely give myself different relationship advice. That's for sure.
I feel like that applies to everyone.
Yeah.
You're right? I feel like that applies to everyone.
When you're my age, yeah, that for sure applies to everybody. But yeah, I would definitely give myself a little more like, okay, let's make some better.
All right,
choices.
let's get it in order here. Let's get it in order here.
Yeah.
All right, Tess. Final question. Would you rather go on an all-expense paid trip to Jamaica or Japan, and why?
Those are hard options.
Yeah.
I was, unfortunately, was supposed to go to Jamaica and China with COVID, got them both canceled. I was supposed to do a mission trip for school to Jamaica, and then one of my appy rotations was supposed to be in China. So I really want to go to Asia. I've always wanted to go to Asia, so I probably picked Japan. I just feel like it's a little bit harder to get to Japan and probably a little bit more expensive too. So that would have been nice.
Nice. Well, that's bummer that you didn't get to go to either of those places.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, how about you?
Japan, 100%. The culture, the food, the community. I mean, come on. Like the anime, the ramen, the sushi. Like obvious choice for me.
Yeah. So when we were talking about this the other day, I was like, ooh, I kind of like Jamaica because it's the beach, it's warm, blah, blah.
Fair,
But then
fair.
you mentioned some things about Japan. And then I was like, oh, wait, my cousin has lived there for like 25 or 30 years.
And you can get like beaches there too.
Yeah, true. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'd go to Japan because the food, I would
Ugh,
definitely love the
yes,
food. Would be one
yes.
of my big things there. And it just looks like a cool, fun vibe.
Yeah, everybody looks like they're having fun all the time
Yeah,
there.
it looks like it'd
So.
be pretty cool.
Not saying Jamaica's not fun. Would still go there. All
Yeah,
expense
man.
trip to both? Question mark. Yeah, let's do a round
Yeah.
trip. Yeah,
I can't wait for the day when you're wealthy, Raj, and you say, let's go
it's
on
a couple more years
I'm gonna
there.
take the NPA on
On an all expense
expenses
trip to
paid
Jamaica,
trip
and then
to
we'll go to
Jamaica.
Japan. Yeah,
And
week in
people are
Jamaica,
so
week in
nice.
Japan. We'll bring Tess on board too.
Yeah, I like this.
Oh, yeah.
Bring Tess on board too.
Well, Tess, we want to thank you so much for being with us today and sharing a little bit about doing a residency. And we wish you the best of luck in it. It sounds like you're working super hard and all the time.
It's all going to pay off. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
it'll
It's going
pay
to
off in
be
the
one of
end.
the top pharmacists in the country in the future, right there.
Nice.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
And soon she'll be a professor, probably. One day we're gonna,
And we're going to
We'll
be like,
have
oh my
you back
gosh,
on the
look
show.
who was on our podcast.
right, exactly.
Yeah, we'll get a lot
And
of.
she's famous one day.
Yeah. Please shout us out.
And don't forget the farm girls.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, Tess. Well, thank you so much. I'm sure you have lives to save and patients to take care of, but we really, really appreciate your time and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, we'll talk to you
It
later.
was great talking to you. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks, Tess.
Thanks, guys. I'll
Okay.
see you later.
Bye,
Okay.
Tess. See you Sunday.
Bye. And now it's time for Farm Facts. So, Premarin, and Lori, I'm going to do some bullet points here because as I started to dig into this, I felt like I was like researching.
There's a lot going on there.
Real,
a lot going on there.
Yeah, debacle here that's going on. So, so before Premarin, it was called Eminem.
I read that as
Not-
Eminem, like
yeah,
the
not the
rapper.
rapper.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Right, but I
okay.
think
Not the real Slim Shady.
not the
then.
real Slim Shady.
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
This is a little slim shady.
Little, yeah,
It
it's
is a
slim
little
and shady. It's
yeah.
slim and shady.
For sure. So originally it was the urine of pregnant women, which
Oh.
was costly.
Obviously.
Yeah. And there was not as much product as there is from horses.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you're not aware, which most of you probably are, that Premarin is a hormone replacement therapy that's been used since 1942 for postmenopausal women. So that's when they started using horse urine. It was in 1942. So it's been considered almost a miracle drug. But in 2002, they were doing a study on women who were using it, and they found that they were suffering from higher rates of heart attack, blood clots, breast cancer, and dementia. So they put a halt on that study and were like, whoa, okay, what are we doing here? So then they had to drop the production on it because less people were using it. They did produce a lower dose version, but now they had all these farms that had all these horses. So in one of the things I read, there was like 80,000 horses at the time on
Whoa.
farms that were creating urine for this drug,
That's a lot.
which is insanity.
Yeah.
So, but another one I said it was like 40,000 horses around 2002 anyway. And they had to drop that in half. So about 20,000 horses is then what was being used to create this drug. But what do you do with 20,000 horses? So the controversy around it is they have all these horses, which was already a problem and filled with all kinds of controversy from animal rights groups, doctors, Hollywood celebrities, all sorts of people were jumping on the production of this. So because what happens is in order to get the urine, the horses are pregnant and then they're put in these stalls for about 20 hours a day. It's strapped with this big contraption to collect the urine. And then a couple months before the birth of their foal, I keep saying fowl, but
Fowl,
that's
foal,
a
potato,
bird, I think.
potato.
Yeah.
I think fowl is the bird.
Foal,
Foal
yeah.
is, baby horse.
A
Okay.
baby horse.
Same thing.
So then they have this baby horse. But then they have all of these foals, baby horses, also that are just now, what do we do with all these babies? Because we're just producing the babies in order to get the urine while they're pregnant. And eventually, and so then they have the baby, then they breed them again, then they're in this thing again, breed.
It's like an endless cycle.
It's like an endless cycle.
cycle.
Yeah. So, and then what happens is then once they're done breeding this horse, again, then you have the mares that are also now need to be rehomed or killed or whatever.
Yeah.
So rescue groups and stuff try to help and get these horses. But I mean, if you can imagine, they can only take so many horses, and only so many people are going to be rescuing horses.
Right,
So,
right.
but what happens also is that sometimes they take those horses and then send them to a feedlot to fatten them up.
Yeah.
And then the meat, then they use them for meat, which I guess is popular in Europe and Japan to eat horse meat. I was unaware of this, but that's word on the street. And so then Wyeth, which is the drug company behind Premarin and has been since 1942, created a $3.7 million trust fund to help transport the horses to recreational auctions and equine rescues. And then they compensated those farmers who either kept the horses and now had to still pay for those horses to be on their farms,
Okay.
or found new homes for them, or resisted the immediate cash they could earn by sending them to slaughter instead.
Yeah,
So,
a little slim, a little shady.
a little slim and a little shady, yeah. And I'm not surprised at all that they found out that, it was doing weird things or causing breast cancer, because that's a huge, I'm a breast cancer survivor, and that's
Right,
what mine
right.
was, estrogen positive breast cancer. So yeah, that all sounds a little slim, a little shady.
Yeah, lots of
So,
information and lots of good information, though.
Yeah. So next we've got events. What do we have coming up?
Yeah, so we have HSync, our Health System and Industry Network conference that's coming up this Friday, October 7th. It's going to be held at the Cornhusker Marriott in downtown Lincoln, and it's going to be a event open for health, hospital pharmacy directors, pharmacy representatives, like pharmaceutical industry representatives, technicians, students, interns, basically the entire pharmacy profession to basically kind of build really valuable connections here in Nebraska.
Cool. Okay. And then October 21st to the 22nd is our virtual fall forum. We've been mentioning that. Make sure you mark that down on your calendar. This is a members only event. The first 150 people to sign up will get a goodie box filled with all sorts of things from sponsors and from the MPA. We've been getting all sorts of stuff in to put into this goodie box. So it'll be a box worth getting. So make sure you sign up. Again, you do have to be a member of the NPA. So if you're not a member right now, make sure you get that, get your membership squared away also. You can get some CE hours with it. There'll be some great speakers we have lined up. We're going to do some different things on dementia. There'll be law stuff in there also. We've got a few other people on there. So if you haven't signed up already, get that done. We'll also do awards and the Mortar Bowl game, which is super fun to do also.
Sweet.
So yeah.
October 28th, we're going to have a joint UNMC and Creighton/NPA student trivia night and networking event in Omaha at Barrett's Barley Corn Pub and Grill from 6 to 9 p.m. We would love for you guys to join us, pharmacist, student, intern, technician, whoever you are in the pharmacy space, please come out and join us for that. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, so I want to thank Raj for filling in today. Raj and I always have a good time together.
Always.
Me and Marcia always are goofy and kind of
You
the
could say
same
that, yeah.
person a lot of times. So Raj, he came with a joke today, which I didn't know. Marcia normally does the joke, and I hadn't even put one in today.
Well, I am Marcia, so.
So yeah, you are kind of
Yeah.
Marcia. Yeah, I mean you are Marcia. Yeah.
All right.
So tell us this joke that you've got.
All right. I found it on a quick little Google, though, but I teeheed on the drive here, so I thought I'd share it.
Okay.
So a doctor is asked to speak at a local conference. He writes up his notes, and like any good presenter, he's going to have his note cards with him.
Right.
So the moderator's up there. He introduces the doctor. We'll call him Dr. Doe, Dr. John Doe.
Okay.
You know? So he
Okay.
comes up there, says hello to everyone, thanks him, pulls out his note cards. Unfortunately, the doctor can't read his own notes.
Obviously.
So obviously, what do you do in that situation, Amy?
Right.
He looks around the room and he says, "Is there a pharmacist in the house?"
Because they can read anything.
They can read. I'm telling you, when I was working retail at CVS, I would get scripts from physicians. No shade, no foul to physicians. A lot of physician friends, a lot of mentors that are physicians, but I'll get some of their notes for amoxicillin, and I'm just like, what even is this? I was like, is this Keppra? Is this like, what am I looking at? She's like, oh, no, it's amoxicillin 500. Yeah, no, he always does this. And yep.
So you learn to read it after a while.
Oh my gosh. It's like, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, because I get in eligibility forms for our statewide Narcan program, and sometimes I wonder if they're taking after doctors, because sometimes they write the prescription number in, and I'm like, I don't even know what numbers you just wrote down there.
Same like signatures too. If you look at my signature, you're like, what happened here? Did the lights turn off as you like started signing,
Right.
and then you just like lost track of what was going on? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Real life problems here, people. Okay, well, again, thank you, Raj, for doing this with me.
Yeah,
this
no,
time.
absolutely. So
We'll have
always a
Raj
blast.
back on for sure. And so, thanks again, everyone, for joining us on
Pharm Girls.